During the broadcast, I'm sure everybody remembers that this is back in March. You pointed out that he was taking some shine away from Tobias Harris. You said that he might be one of the most overrated players in the NBA.
Into that game, and I feel like this was the year that he deserved.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, and I know I'll take flack for it. As Westbrook is at the free throw line, as the call on the floor stood, the challenge by Doc Rivers. I think Ben Simmons is one of, if not the most overrated players in the NBA. And he's gotten so much love and attention that people aren't paying attention to what Tobias Harris is actually doing on the floor.
The story blew up. It was everywhere. First, did you think the story would go to the lengths that it did?
No way. I said when I said it that I know I'll take some heat for this, but I just thought it'd be the normal stuff on Twitter. And the evolution of it was Drew and I were talking before the game, and we were talking about Tobias Harris. And basically what I had said was that we both thought Tobias Harris should be an all-star. But there's no way that Philly was getting 3 guys on the all-star team. So obviously Embiid is going to be one. And then who's the other name that you think of when you think of Philly? Simmons, not Harris. And so that to me is why I thought he was overrated. I thought he was getting things based on reputation, not based on performance. I didn't mean it as a personal knock. I don't have any vendetta against Ben Simmons. I've never met him. It was merely us having a conversational piece, at the end of a game where in a blowout, that's what you do. You're going to have a conversation. It wasn't because Ben wasn't playing in that game or anything of that nature. So no, I never thought it would blow up like that, nor did I ever want it to. I'm not one to try to attract that kind of attention. And what the fallout from it, I had to turn off all my notifications. The amount of death threats that I received, it was ridiculous. So to be honest, people ask me, do I feel vindicated for what I said because of what he did in the playoffs? And it was never about vindication. I feel badly for him because, it's a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. And physical things you can get through. Mental things are much more difficult to get through. And look, I think Ben Simmons is a very good player, and I said that. I just don't think he is what people made him out to be.
You're right. It got very personal, to the point where it was like you said, scary. You're receiving death threats. Is that the part that you look back and you're like, that went too far? You're allowed to, chirp me on Twitter, but all the other stuff, even Ben Simmons himself was doing some stuff there for a while. Did you think that part went a little too far?
It's funny. I was asked not to respond, so I didn't say a word. When Simmons put out the Instagram post about another casual, I thought that was hilarious. I really did. It's one of my favorite pictures that I have. And, so I was gonna have fun with him, and I thought we could have turned a negative into a positive, but I respected everybody and just stayed quiet. And I stayed quiet for the playoffs too. I never wanted to take what they call the victory lap. It wasn't about that. There's nothing personal that I have against Ben. And honestly, if I had the chance to meet him, I'll go up to him, I'll introduce myself, and that'll be that. I always want to be held accountable. I want my team to know that if I say something that they're not happy with, they can come up to me. Let's have a conversation. And that's the way I feel about everything. You may not agree with what I say, but let's have a conversation and talk about it. And, Twitter, social media, everyone has those Twitter muscles. When they meet me in person, those muscles go away. And I just think the reaction that people had was sad. I think it stinks that you get to turn off your notifications because of the death threats that you get. I think social media, to be honest, is probably the bane of our existence. And it's one of the most hypocritical things out there because there's always the, hashtag mental health. And what's the biggest cause of mental health? Social media. So I think it's a problem. You could say it's a necessary evil, but there are ways to handle situations. And I just don't think that situation was handled the way it should have been.
in the fallout from that, and, moving forward, are you going to change the way you approach conversations in the booth? Like, I love how candid you are on topics around the NBA when you're up there in the booth and hot button topics. Is that going to change in the fallout from all of that?
It's funny because, like I said, my whole career has been national TV. And so I offered the opinion, not really thinking of myself in the sense of I can't comment on another team's player, but instead just commenting on basketball. What I've also learned, I think honestly, Justin, you always have to learn from anything you do. And what I learned from that is there are certain ways to say and to make your point. And Drew is the analyst. I'm supposed to tee Drew up, and then I can respond with something, but I shouldn't be the one to lead it maybe. But am I going to change everything about how I call a game or maybe offer opinions? No. I mean, look, even Thursday night, I saw Joe Buck and I saw the guys and they're like, dude, you nailed that. And I was like, I wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to create that controversy. I wasn't trying to bring that attention upon myself, upon the team, upon the network. I was just trying to have a conversation and keep it interesting for the viewers. And so I will still do stuff to keep things interesting, but there may be a different way to approach it.